Good morning. Welcome to your Sunday morning, early morning intuitive guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum. We have a chapter or section out of our book today, Taking the War Out of Our Words, The Art of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication by Sharon Ellison. And this is going to wrap up this chapter that we've been working on for a while. So if you want to dig out your books, if you have them, good morning, welcome, happy Sunday. And having come off of yesterday's Tony Robbins presentation, I think the stuff that we're learning in this book is going to become even more vital. So yesterday, good morning, glad you're here, welcome. Yesterday we were experiencing a bunch of different presenters, all talking about their fields, whether it was real estate or stock market investing or just a variety of things, a plethora. And one physician was talking about artificial intelligence. And good morning, Peggy, welcome. This was a presentation that he had given in, hello, Cindy, February of this year. And just between when he gave that presentation and now, things have already exploded with regard to artificial intelligence. There is so much this stuff can do. So I just want to give you a few little pieces because I think this is going to put what we're working on today in context. Let's see. They are working on an artificial womb. Good morning. Hello, Mel. That will breed pairs of extinct animals. They're working on the woolly mammoth and the dodo bird, bringing them back. Switching genes on and off with regard to aging. They have taken mice and made them old and then made them young again. Artificial intelligence has taken stem cells and they're creating the ones that are right on the cusp of being out there, a cure for HIV, a vaccine for melanoma that is right now going through the FDA, vaccines against Parkinson's, which is in phase 2 testing, stroke and heart disease, which is in phase 1 testing, and Alzheimer's, which is in phase 3 testing. Lab-grown red blood cells no longer have to do blood drives. Human-compatible pig organs. No more waiting lists for organs. Stem cells that, when they put them in a 3D printer, manufacture organs. Manufacturing pediatric hearts for little kids. I mean, the stuff this thing does is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And they also talked about the ethics of it. So one of the things that they said was, we can't ignore it. How will we play with it? We need to get a strategy and be on the front end of starting to use it. He had some demonstrations where he showed mostly teens and young adults, because they're the ones who will be cutting edge with this stuff in a lot of ways, writing their own resume, taking a paper, taking a book and having it analyzed. What are the top 5 points out of business perspective? You know, or the things you get from your stockbroker. You know, those forms you cannot read. Input the data into the. I think can't remember the name of the current one. Anyway, top 5 bullet points out of this document, and it scans the whole document and gives you the top 5 things. And you can say the top 5 things learned from this document. Good morning, Diane. Written for a 10-year-old, so you can put it in a language that you can understand. It was amazing watching what this stuff can do. Amazing. So again, prefacing our part of the book today, Taking the War Out of Our Words, The Art of Powerful Non-Defensive Communication by Sharon Ellison, it's going to become even more important how we communicate with each other. Even more important. So, for those of you who are following along, we are going to be on page 208. And let's just take some nice deep breaths in through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. In through the nose, sigh it out through the mouth. We also, at the end, did laughter yoga. That was hilarious. There's a dude and his wife who do laughter yoga. It was quite interesting. So, but it certainly improves your perspective. Good morning, Terry. Glad you are here. Welcome, welcome. So this part that we're talking about at the end of this chapter, taking the war out of our words, is called Challenge Choice, Life's Consequences. And way back 30 plus years ago when I was in graduate school and I was training parents with their kids, and they'd have a little bug in the ear and I'd be on the other side of the mirror and I'd be coaching them with their kids. One of the things that we taught them was life giving your kids consequences has way more power than you giving your kids consequences. So I'll give you an example. If you have a tween who doesn't want to shower and you're badgering about shower, you can't go to school smelling stinky, blah, blah, blah. Allow life's consequences to work for you. Let that kid go to school stinky. Let the pretty girl sitting beside him say, "Ew, you smell bad. Can I sit somewhere else?" Good morning, Carolyn. Let life's consequences help them learn. They learn so much better when life delivers the consequences than when we do. So, challenge choice, life's consequences. While limit-setting predictions are the most common, challenge choice predictions can also have a powerful effect. When we make a challenge choice prediction, we simply forecast consequences we believe the person will incur independently if he or she makes certain choices. Again, life's handing out those consequences, not us. The previous section that we did was the consequences we were going to apply. If you keep cutting me off in conversation, I won't continue the conversation. That's me doing something. In this case, it's life doing something. A challenge choice prediction does not involve our response or any consequence we will personally implement. If someone is acting in a way that could be harmful, I believe it is appropriate to give a subjective accounting of what we perceive and call upon the person to question the action and take stock of their circumstances. So, if you ride your bike without holding onto the handlebars, it is likely you're going to crash and hurt yourself. Life's consequences, not us handing them out. When used as a tool for punishment or domination, a challenge choice prediction can be an ominous warning, such as when the insurance agent told an employee, "If you leave here, you will fail. You'll be back." In non-defensive communication, the goal is focused on protection and personal growth. Doug might say to Virginia, "I believe that if you frequently interrupt others, they are less likely to feel respected, be less willing to talk to you, and be less willing to listen to what you have to say." He's just laying out what he thinks the life consequences of her continuing to interrupt would be. If you do listen without interrupting, I think others will feel both more respected, want to talk to you more, and be more attentive to what you have to say. So again, remember when we're doing any of this, we make the prediction and then we make the opposing prediction. If you do this, then that. If you do that, then this. So they're getting both ends of the continuum, especially if you're talking to kids, because we think they ought to be able to intuit what the other side of the coin is, and a lot of times they can't. So we spell it out. Virginia now has been challenged to take account and can choose how to respond. Doug makes no reference to any reaction he personally will have to her interruptions. He is not defining his own boundaries and consequences. That was the previous section we worked on. In this case, Doug is predicting how he believes people in general will be inclined to draw their boundary lines in response to Virginia's interruption. Oh, it glitched again there. So I'm back. I just think it's so interesting when it glitches. So, let's see, where are we? He is challenging Virginia to consider the ramifications of repeatedly interjecting her own thoughts when others are speaking. She now has the option of examining her own behavior. She also has the choice of changing the behavior if, after her own self-evaluation, she believes a change is warranted. Some people will decide to make changes, other people won't. Here's some guidelines for making a challenge choice prediction. Keep in mind these two vital points about the challenge choice format. Number one, avoid repeating a challenge choice prediction. If you've said it, they've chosen whether or not they're going to hear it. Don't waste your breath. The effect of doing so, repeating, is badgering or hammering the point home, beating the dead horse. Number two, offer the prediction in the form of a subjective statement rather than an objective fact. Say, I believe, I think, before the if-then of the prediction. If you present your statement as a conclusive, this is the way it is pronouncement, you are more likely to get resistance. Okay? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Fabulous, Gwen. So Gwen has already applied this. Fabulous. When parents lecture children, they often use the same challenge choice predictions over and over. If you don't bring your grades up, you're not going to get in a good college. If you don't bring your grades up, you're not going to get in a good college. Blah, 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 blah. And pretty soon, it's like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. They don't hear you anymore. When we use challenge choice predictions repetitively, we browbeat the other person. I recommend stating this prediction clearly, but not repeating it frequently. And so with that kid, if that kid does not bring his or her grades up, they have other choices for colleges, or they'll have to do some remedial stuff, or whatever it is. Not the end of the world. It feels like it sometimes as a parent, the end of the world. But allowing those consequences to happen is good. If you don't study for your driver's test, you are not going to pass. Yep, absolutely. It works well with teens and youth group because you're empowering them. They get to make the choice. It's not us trying to ride roughshod over what they do. And the older they get, the more of that choice you want to have be in their hands. You want to have trained them all the way along so that the more choice they get handed, the better they handle it. When someone overprotects all the way through school and then that kid goes off to college, that's the kid I'm worried about because they don't have a skill set. They don't have a skill set for how do I make these choices? Are we going out drinking? Am I staying home to study? How much am I drinking? Someone's handing me some pills. I don't know what they are, but everybody's taking them. Am I going to take them too? They don't have the skill set to defend against that kind of stuff if you've protected them all the way through. I know. No one ever tells us when we have kids that what it's going to be is a little piece of our heart and soul out there walking the earth separate from us. Nobody tells us that. I'm telling you that. Those of you who haven't had children yet. So, ways to use challenge choice predictions. As with a limit setting format, we can use the challenge choice format to make predictions about feelings, beliefs, reasoning, and behavior. Those are those four things that have kind of traveled through the whole book with us. Feelings, beliefs, reasoning, and behavior. I often use challenge choice predictions in conjunction with limit setting predictions. When I do so, good morning, Judy, glad you are here. When I do so, I usually offer the challenge choice prediction last. For example, you might first tell your partner that you will not respond to unsolicited directions when you are driving, and then predict, I believe that if you would stop worrying so much about which route we take, you would be less frustrated. There's the challenge choice. Corey used a challenge choice prediction with Beth. Remember, Corey and Beth are the ones where Corey is wanting Beth to do the dishes before she goes to the dance. Providing her with the challenge choice prediction helped her understand that her choices ultimately would affect herself far more than they would affect her mother, Corey. I think you will find that if you put off doing basic tasks such as washing dishes, then you will create a habit of procrastination that will make daily routines seem overwhelming. You might also hurt your ability to be a productive person. If you practice doing routine tasks now, so here's the other side of the coin, she's laying it all out, then I believe it will help you build good organizational habits so daily routines will seem easy. That can strengthen your ability to be a productive person. And the whole while you're doing that, the kid's standing there rolling their eyes and sighing and flopping from one hip to the other. It's okay. Say what you need to say. Move on. I think teens often forget that they will live with their parents for only a few more years, but they will probably live with themselves for 60 years, and now more than that, much longer than that. We're right on the cusp of people living 120, 130. I like to be clear with teenagers about the impact of their choices on their own lives. You might also make a challenge choice prediction for the child who is not showing appreciation for a present. I believe that if you don't appreciate your bike, it will mean less to you and you will actually enjoy it less. If you appreciate it, I think you will have more fun with it. Another one in that regard might be, I believe that if you don't show appreciation for gifts that people give you, people are going to be upset and people are likely to not give you gifts. But here's the other side, but if you show appreciation for what you are given, people will happily give you gifts. And you will be a happier person, however you want to put it. Then we have Sandra and Jake. Remember them? They're the married couple where he is a contractor and he writes checks and doesn't tell her and things bounce and she's the one who does the books and has to clean up the mess. Sandra could use a challenge choice prediction with Jake, so he might think about the effect of his sorry about that. So he thinks about the effect of the choices on himself rather than on only seeing her as trying to control his behavior. If you don't learn how to prevent some of these banking problems, I think you will feel more stress even if I do fix the immediate mess. If you learn a few things that enable you to avoid the banking problems, then I believe you will feel much less pressure yourself. Likewise, Akiro might make a prediction for Kiko that would help her consider how her choices affect her ability to feel loved. So Akiro is the man who has 2 children from her previous marriage. Akiko is his wife, his second wife, Kiko. I believe that if you continue to see the children as taking me away from you, then your own jealousy will make you feel less loved. If you could accept the children as part of our family together, I believe you could have even more love than just what you get from me. Each of these challenge choice predictions provides information about the impact of people's choices on themselves as well as others. So there's some little boxes. I'm going to skip those because I think they are the reiterations of what we've already worked on. Clear predictions balance responsibility with freedom. So she's going to explain the 2 ends of that continuum and her desire to land somewhere in the middle. Years ago, Frederick Fritz Perls, most well known for conceiving Gestalt therapy, made a comment that was seized by the counterculture and later appeared on greeting cards. The original version read, I do my thing and you do your thing. I am not in this world to live up to your expectations, and you are not in this world to live up to mine. You are you and I am I, and if by chance we find each other, it's beautiful. If not, it can't be helped. While I understood the intention of Pearl's assertion that it's to move away from controlling or codependent relationships, I do not agree with how this philosophy was and is sometimes interpreted by those who do not want to take responsibility for the effect they have on others. Interesting too, have seen this play out over the last 3 days with a woman from New York City who is on the team that I'm on. So there's 4,000 people on this Zoom, and we're broken up into groups of about 75. And she's in the same group that I'm in. And I have seen her doing this over and over, where she makes some kind of a snarky, rude comment and then divorces herself from the reactions that people have to that. It's like she's allowed to say whatever she wants to say, and she doesn't have to own responsibility for the reactions it creates in others. Too far to the one end of the continuum. Out of this reasoning comes the all too simplistic retort. If you choose to feel hurt by what I did, that is your problem. We need some middle ground here. On the other end of the spectrum is what the fox taught to the little prince, that we have a responsibility to others forever. I used to like this idea far better, much responsibility for other people's choices and become enmeshed in their lives in unhealthy ways. Looks like some of you are getting booted off. We're down to 8. We were at 11. So I'm not sure. Obviously, it's glitched a couple of times already here too. But hopefully the replay will be smooth and not choppy like this is. She says, my experience has been that non-defensive predictions can combine the best of each of these philosophies without retaining their limitations. We can understand that whether we make conscious predictions or not, insofar as we all create boundaries that affect each other, we have responsibility for each other. We can also understand that by making predictions that do not try to control another person's choices, each of us can maximize our freedom. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. So our next chapter, we'll be moving into chapter 12, is the non-defensive mind and heart set. So again, we've been talking a lot about the behavior. How does this come across? How do we do this thing? Now we're going to back up a little bit and talk about what's underlying it. Where is this coming from? Because that makes a huge difference in terms of how it's received and how we feel it and how we put it out there. So that's it for today. I hope you get some opportunities to practice. Have an awesome Sunday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are. Bye-bye.